Hello, this is Amanda Malave. I am teaching the Principle of Marketing for Business 312 at the University of Hawaii. And today we're going to be going over Chapter 3. Chapters 1 and 2 were mostly focused on really getting you an introduction into marketing and how marketing it impacts customers, and we market to people's desires and wants, and how in Chapter 2 companies actually start creating marketing plans all the way from the vision statements to identifying the strategic business units and what products are going to be sold at each strategic business unit, and then the strategic business units taking their objectives that the CEO might give to them and creating business plans that then are measured and found to be effective or not effective by the marketing return on investment. So today is going to be a little bit more tactical. We're going to be actually analyzing the marketing environment and how these factors, which are internal and external factors, could really impact our decision making. So today's learning objectives are the environmental forces that affect the company's ability to serve customers. Objective number 2 is really figuring out the demographic and economic environments and how they affect marketing. Then number 3 is identifying natural and technological environments and how they impact marketing. And last but not least, explaining political and cultural environments. Objective number 5 is actually something that we'll be talking about throughout the entire presentation today, which is how to react to these environmental changes. And there's 3 ways to do that, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So today we're going to start with objective 1, which is describing the environmental forces that affect a company's ability to service its customers. So we're going to be using a Hawaii company today, and I put a picture of one of the favorite restaurants of my family to go to, and I'm wondering if you can guess who it is. So I'll give you 2 seconds. 1, 2, and based off of this picture, most of you probably have visited here, and it's called Zippy's. Zippy's is a well-known franchise here in Hawaii, and we've all eaten there. Most of us have. And we're going to be talking about the macro and microeconomical factors that impact Zippy's and how they can address those ever-changing items. Okay, so let's start off with a definition. So what is a company's marketing environment? Well, a company's marketing environment includes actors and forces. And what actors and forces mean is actors are people, and actors could be everything from a politician to a customer to a supplier to your internal employees. And forces are things like the economy, the cultural forces, the demographics that are coming in to visit us in Hawaii. And those are sometimes outside of marketing's control. We don't control the airlines. We don't control people who decide that they all of a sudden want to visit Hawaii. But we do market to those people. So we need to really understand what's going on in those areas. And the whole intent is that we understand them to build and maintain successful relationships to the customers we choose to target. So there's 2 environments that we're going to go through today. One is the macro environment. The other one is the micro environment. So in order to kind of understand this, the easiest way to figure this out or differentiate them one from each other is that the macro environment consists of the larger societal forces that affect the micro environment. So the micro environment would be like inside of this versus outside of this rainbow. So the macro environment is the demographics of people that visit Hawaii, the economic situation of Hawaii, natural resources that could impact Hawaii, technological items that could impact our customers and our visitors, political items, and cultural items. And here we have the company in the middle. So these are factors that are impacting the holistic company. That's the macro environment. Let's take a look at the micro environment. And again, these are actors or people or places that affect our ability to serve our customers. These are the company itself, suppliers, our intermediaries, competitors, the public, and of course our customers. So before we do a deep dive into each one of those sections, I'd like to discuss how companies react to marketing environments. There's three ways, and again, this is a really key topic, and you'll have scenario-based questions in the exams and in the quizzes. So really take a moment to read and understand how this all works. So there's three approaches. One is the uncontrollable approach. If there's a earthquake, that's uncontrollable. And how we react and adapt to that force of nature, which would be the natural macro environment factor, is one way that marketing could take, one approach that marketing could take. The other approach would be a proactive approach. Yes, we know that there could be an earthquake, but is there anything proactive that we could do about that? From a societal perspective, we could be thinking about, all right, well, we could proactively be engaged with like the Big Island and social companies that are proactively addressing or helping out those people that could be potentially impacted. Or if we know that the volcano could impact the vegetation and we buy vegetables and produce from the Big Island, how do we proactively um, address that issue that we could have a shortage? So all of those are proactive approaches. A reactive approach could be that we just kind of wait and react to these forces as well. So today for Zippies, we're going to be taking a proactive approach to each and every one of the macro and micro environmental forces. So let's take a look at the micro forces first. So again, marketing is in the middle. These are actors that are closest to us. And we're going to take a look at how Zippies is impacted by these. So let's take the approach that we're in marketing. So we are the marketing and social media team, and we would be interacting with the corporate company. And Zippies is actually owned by FCH Enterprises. So we would be working with the CEO and the marketing team, potentially a VP of marketing there, and also with the stores. So the company is very close to us, and we're partners with them. We would be working with suppliers. I can't really tell who some of the suppliers of Zippies is. They hold it close to the vest. But if I do use LinkedIn and I look up like the CEO or the VP of marketing, I can see who some of the relationships are. And I can see that they have a lot of relationships with construction companies and banks, and then some of the big produce companies. So I can take a guess at who some of the suppliers are. But I also know that, Zippies is very integrated with them because I can see those relationships on LinkedIn. And those are key in order to, at the end of the day, have a good delivery system to serve our target customers and create a strong relationship with them. Next, we have our competitors. One of the ways that I go look at competitors is I can click on Zippy's Yelp page, and on that page, you'll see who do others look at, or what other comfort food locations are available near Zippy's at any location that they have. So that's where I found out that Itchy Butt and some other cafes like Scratch Cafe is some of the competitors for Zippy's. So that's really key to understand because here on the island, we're a small island, and it's really important to have good relationships with our competitors and also know who they are so that we can market appropriately. Zippy has a great relationship with the public, and they're very socially conscious. So Zippy's actually donates a lot of money every year on the behalf of FCH and through the Zippy's name to schools and diabetes organizations, etc. So they do a great job there. So marketing would have a direct relationship with the public via social media and other venues. And of course, marketing is in charge of keeping that relationship alive through social media. And last but not least, through use of marketing intermediaries like Likeable Media. Likeable Media is a New York based social media expert. And it looks like, based off of my findings and research on Zippies, that they might be helping Zippies. But don't hold me to that. It's just something that I casually saw. But again, Zippy's and the marketing team here could be working with any and many marketing intermediaries. And at the end of the day, marketing works with all of these very closely to create value and build a relationship so there could be profits. Let's take a quick peek at marketing intermediaries, which I call partners because they're super critical. Marketing intermediaries are resellers. They're your physical distribution teams, meaning the stores. If you could do a great job at marketing, but if the stores aren't delivering on quality and also delivering the great pictures that you post, then that's an issue. So you have to always be working with the physical distribution firms and locations, marketing servicing agencies, and the media and financial intermediaries, because a lot of times, marketers are also working with banks and other financial companies because they have advertising or they're promoting, like a Bank of Hawaii might have a golf outing. So marketing would be a promoter of that golf outing, for example. So again, it's all very intertwined, especially here in Hawaii. So the another factor of the environment is public and customers. So you got your financial, your media, your government, and citizens, and their opinion matters. And don't ever forget that you have your internal customers too, which means your employees. They have a lot to say a lot of times, and it's really important that you keep them happy as well. So let's take a look at the macro environment. This is that larger scope that also impacts the microenvironment. And again, it's the demographic, economic, natural, technological, political, and cultural factors that impact marketing and the company. So, a few definitions. Demography is the study of human populations. I can't stress enough to let you know that marketing requires for you, especially here in Hawaii, to really understand the demographics. Who makes up our market? Our market here is made up of Kama'aina. It's made up of diverse amounts of Kama'aina that live here in different cultures. It's also made up of our tourists who are super critical to us. So you need to know the demographics and who's coming in and out of this island to know how to market to them. You need to know their size, where do they live, their age, their gender, their likes, their dislikes, their wants, their desires, occupation, statistics, and really what their needs are, because that's who you're going to be marketing to. It's really important to keep up with demographic trends, especially age and family structures, geographical population shifts, especially here in Hawaii. Knowing who's coming in and out is super critical. Diversity, political, and cultural forces. So we'll dive into each one of these. So generational marketing. Generational marketing means that you're going to create a marketing program for a specific generation. So you could be creating a program for the greatest generation, which were born before 1933, or the silent generation, or the baby boomers. We got a lot of baby boomers here in Hawaii, so it would behoove us if we were Zippies to target them. And Generation X and the millennials. We know a lot about the millennials. Marketing thinks they know, but we do a lot of research on millennials and what they want and what they don't want. We know that you're socially conscious. We know that you don't like to spend a lot. We know that you're thrifty and that going out to eat is important, but you also eat in a lot. We know that you don't like to waste food, and that, for example, there's this huge shift in how you're eating and that you're really health conscious for the most part. So, from that perspective, understanding those needs, wants, and desires is super critical. And then we got Generation X, Z, who's coming up next. So, okay, big deal. So, what about Hawaii? So, let's take a look at that. So, let's take a look at generational marketing and how Zippies could proactively target the generational marketing aspects of what's happening in our demographics. So we're going to look at the Kama'aina, who's living here. We do know that the population is skewing older. It is 28.4% of Hawaii's population is over 55, compared to the United States was 25.7. So that's really key to understand. So Zippies could proactively start looking at, well, how do I target that market and what are they wanting? And how could I potentially move into different types of businesses that could help me expand my overall Zippies business? So knowing that data is super critical. So the other part of it is, okay, well, where are the jobs going to be? Because I'm going to also need people to service these customers. So I do know that in Hawaii specifically, up to 2020, services for the elderly is going to be key. And a lot of people are going to be working in that sector. So I'm going to have maybe a little bit of trouble hiring, but I also, need to be focused on servicing the elderly. So what are some of the opportunities that Zippies could take? I'll give you 2 seconds. One, two. All right. Well, for me, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about Zippies potentially having a more uh, health focused meal options, maybe turkey spam versus the current spam we have, or less sodium, or more heart sensitive food items on their menu. They could have more marketing and social media plans focused on the elderly or the older population. Or they could even potentially decide, the corporate headquarters could decide, why don't we get into delivering, food options to the elderly or to the home healthcare systems. So there is a huge opportunity there. So if you can't beat them, join them. So there's a proactive approach that Zippies and the marketing department could take together to grow and further invest into our current Kama'aina. But let's take a look at a little bit more of the demographic environment. We know that the American family is changing. We know that changes in the workforce are super important because we've got to service our customers. We know that there's growth in the U.S. West and South, and we also know that there's a shortage and people leaving Hawaii on a constant basis. So there's a decline here as well. And then we also know that people are changing where they work. They're telecommuting or they have home offices. So how to take advantage of that? Well, the North Face is taking advantage of the changing demographics. They're focusing on Generation Z. And how they are doing that is they're building and getting Generation Z exposed to their brand early on by offering summer classes and experiences. So, of course, that's the brand that they're going to remember later on when they're ready to buy some of that gear that they need. So, again, proactively engaging, even when it's not profitable in the short term, but more profitable in the long run, is super critical. So let's take a look at Zippies and the demographics here. We talked about the older generation increasing here, but we also know that as of today, millennials are the biggest and largest generation in Hawaii right now. So, how are we targeting the millennials? So, the marketing team should have an approach to millennials as well as to the baby boomers, etc. But they also need to take into consideration that these baby boomers are actually leaving Hawaii. And so, how do you take advantage of that? Well, you could take a reactionary approach and go, okay, well, I'll just focus on the baby boomers and the older generation, and focus on maybe a driving, a delivery system of food to home health providers. Or you could decide by doing a study or investment plan and marketing plan on where are our millennials going to on the mainland? Could we open up stores or franchises there? So there's a lot of opportunity here, but the point is that you need to know the data in order to make good business decisions in marketing and the business as a whole. So the economic environment is super critical. Of course, here in Hawaii, the changes in economy, people don't go on vacation if they're strapped for money, especially on the mainland. And also, when we have an economic downturn, that also impacts some of our neighboring countries that come and visit us. It's actually good for them. So when we have an economic downturn, the Japan and the Chinese may come here more because the dollar is, their money goes further here in Hawaii. So income distribution and changes in consumer spending is super key. And why is that? It's an economic factor, and based off of who's coming, what kind of lifestyle they have, how much money they spend, that will let Zippies know who to market to and how to market to them. So an example here is Mercedes. They offer a wide range of cars. So Mercedes could be like Zippies at one point. They used to only really market to the higher end, but now they realize that, okay, well, if the economy goes bad, then I lose. So I need to have something that kind of meets everybody's needs. So that's what I would suggest to Zippies too. Zippies is kind of the middle range, lower end food solution, but how are you going to service maybe the higher end consumers that are coming and visiting that want a great Hawaiian experience, but maybe a different type of food or environment? So that is how you use economic environment to make marketing decisions. So let's take a look at the economic factors and how Zippies and anybody here in Hawaii can take advantage of them. Well, here is a really interesting piece of data that shows me that the economy in the United States, when it was going bad and we had a recession in 2008 and 2009, Hawaii actually really recovered really quickly. Most of the mainland took a longer time to recover, and our GDP, our gross, actually dropped by 4% in 2009. But I want to show you how much it dropped on the mainland. It actually dropped by 9%. So even when the economy goes haywire in the United States, we have a natural diversification already built in, which is that if something goes bad here, it actually helps from a tourist perspective because the currency in some of the other countries like Japan and China and Australia will actually benefit from that. So we actually had visitors. So again, from our perspective, we have a very unique standpoint where even in the worst of times, we can overcome. So how does Zippies take advantage of that? Well, they need to know the data, and we need to know the number of arrivals that are coming in every year, how much each visitor is spending, what our unemployment rates are going to be, what our inflation rates are going to be, what personal income is going to be. So here we know that, thank goodness, our visitor rates are going to stay pretty stable. But here's an advantage. Our visitors are going to spend a lot more money in 2018, it's projected, than in 2019 and 20. We also know that personal income is going to be increasing. But it's increasing because of inflation. So for us, things are going to continue to increase and inflation is going to be increase, but potentially our personal income is not going to increase at the same rate of inflation. So Zippies needs to understand all of that. So we may not be going out to eat as much in 2019 and 20 because of that, the people that actually live here, but there's going to be a lot of tourists and they are going to be spending money. So Zippies should really be focusing on the tourist as well. So last but not least, let's look at the natural and technological environments and how Zippies can proactively address those. The natural environment are shortages in raw materials, increase pollution. There's no doubt in my mind that raw materials such as produce are going to be impacted by the issues at the volcano on the Big Island, especially the Kona coffee. So we need to be aware of those, and we need to be aware of how that's going to impact our pricing and what kind of products we need to um, actively purchase, and how we're going to market our new products or services to replace some of those products that we may not have. So developing strategies to support the environment as well is super, super critical. So I'm going to look at the environment in another aspect too, which is, well, how can Zippies understand some of the data that's out there on the current trends in our energy? Energy is really expensive in Hawaii, and Zippy's no doubt uses a lot of energy. So what could they be doing? Well, my thought is that there's two ways to make money. One is by increasing the number of customers that come in and increasing prices, so you increase profits. The other one is to reduce costs to increase profits. So from that standpoint, I would suggest that they notice that there's a lot of projects coming in for renewable energy, and that they should be making their stores wind and solar dependent versus energy dependent. So that's another way that Zippies could take advantage of natural resources and data that they have. And then they could be marketing that they are socially and environmentally conscious. So again, attracting millennials and Generation Z and the new type of socially conscious consumers that are coming from the Asia markets. Technological environment is super critical as well. We know that the technology is changing on a day-to-day basis, especially for our consumers that are coming from the Asia market. So this example here about the technological environment is in regards to China. What I would be doing if I was Zippies is I would be hiring potentially someone in China that knows social media inside and out, and that could be interacting and discussing Zippies before they get here. And I would have special marketing plans with intermediaries, marketing intermediaries in China, or potentially Chinese speaking people here that could be marketing to customers proactively using all these different social media aspects. So I would hope that Zippies is already doing this, and if they're not, it's super key that they do. So that's how you would take advantage of that. You could work with the airlines. You could be one of the providers of the food on the airlines. You could focus on travel agencies, or you could even have a page on one of their micro blogging or social networks. So super critical to engage proactively using technology with the Chinese market, for example. Let's take a look at the political and social environment. So legislation and social marketing matters. Your interest in society and legislation are key, and that's because you're becoming proactive. This is where Zippies can do a lot of marketing, and they do a great job at that. They are really, really focused on legislation and creating social relationships with our community. So here's an example, and they support the American Diabetes Association, and they're giving money away. If you go to Zippy's website, they're really, really proud of us of how much they give to the community and the culture. So they're about us and their community pages and their blogs. It's all about all their legislation and societal marketing, and that's where their focus is right now. So I think they do a pretty darn good job of that. So cultural environment. Again, cultural environment is super critical. It's about beliefs and values, and how your beliefs and values and your environment, how they impact your needs, wants, and desires. So for example, we have Kama'aina here, and we know that they love Loco Moco, right? And that they'll always want to get that at Zippy's. But what about the millennials that are now more all natural food products based, or the elderly that won't be able to eat that, or the socially conscious Japanese traveler? What about those folks? So the cultural environment uh, and attract environmentally conscious groups. And so all natural food products could be an aspect that Zippy's needs to take a look at. And again, really understand this. It's got a target on that. And so it'll be on the exams and quizzes. So let's take a look, a deeper dive into travel demographics. And I got this data, and when you click on it, you'll be able to see it. I got this data from one of the travel agencies because they work with American Express, and American Express is predicting that travel is going to be huge over the next 3 years. And so the consumer that was flying into Hawaii in 2011 is completely different than the consumer that's flying into 2020. In 2011, we had a lot of younger students. They would come here. They didn't have a lot of money to spend. They were mostly spending things in their own country, so it was more of an experience. But in 2020, let's take a look at who's coming and how they're coming and what do they want. The biggest demographic that's going to be coming and traveling to Hawaii and to all parts of the world are going to be Chinese students that are in the middle age of around age 30. So there'll be that millennial who's just graduated from college and is in their career stage. They have good money. They're freelancing. They expect to marry, but they want to travel first, and they travel in groups. So they're going to be coming with their friends and their family, and they're going to spend about 40% of their income on travel and entertainment. And they use their social media to really understand how they're going to spend their money, and they love to get good deals, and they buy the majority of products. So they're going to buy their travel packages and identify where they're going to eat as a group way ahead of the time that they get here. So again, Zippy's needs to be understanding this, and the marketing teams need to be doing deep dives into these demographics so that they can understand how to proactively market to them. Let's take a deeper dive into the needs and wants of this demographic. Well, we also know that the Chinese are super health conscious. So they are into healthy food, organic, they don't want GMOs, they want convenience, and they're willing to pay a premium. So again, is Zippy's prepared as it is today to be able to service these people? And if not, what could they be doing? Could they be having like a satellite mini store where it's a little bit more health conscious, more organic, and has a higher premium? Or could they have a separate menu at the current existing Zippy stores? Who knows? But marketing and the company and suppliers need to all be working on this now in order to be proactively addressing and getting those customers to come in, not only today, but for the long run. Again, the whole goal in making profits is to build those long run relationships that are strong from day one. All right, so we're at the end of the chapter, and let's just review what we've learned. We've learned about the macro and micro factors impacting marketing. We use Zippy's as an example to discuss ways to respond to the macroeconomic factors, and we focus specifically on how to respond to them proactively. So the next steps are that by Thursday midnight, you should have chapters 1 through 3 completed, and you should have your replies for the ethics online discussion completed. And the reason that we have assignments due on Tuesdays and Thursdays is because there's a lot of issues that might happen on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Your own family items, your own uh, technical issues. So I just wanted to make sure that we had the university available as well as myself available for any questions that you might have during the days that homework assignments are due. And just in case, a lot of times IT has La Lima updates, or my marketing lab might have updates on Saturdays and Sundays. So I just wanted to make sure that we were up and running, and usually nothing happens Monday through Friday from an IT standpoint. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed chapter 3. I will be recording the next chapters, and we'll see you in the discussion for chapters 4, 5, and 6. Mahalo, and have a great weekend.